Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting for the Bedford Township Board of Zoning Appeals for November 3rd. Have an introduction of the... I think so. Oh, it wasn't close enough to my big mouth. Call to order, introduction of members, starting down to my left.
Jennifer Barth.
Joe Gore, Township Trustee Representative.
Sherry McCormick.
Bob Potter.
At Mahoney Planning Commission.
Dennis Kohler, Building Inspector.
Katrina Ingram, Planning and Zoning.
Marty Camprath, Legal Counsel.
Jody Rector, Planning and Zoning.
Thank you. And would everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next in line is the roll call.
Yes, Mr. Mahoney.
Here.
Ms. McCormick.
Here.
Mr. Gore.
Here.
Ms. Barth.
Here.
Mr. Potter.
Here.
All present.
Okay. Next is approval of agenda. Could I have a motion from someone?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Thank you.
Support.
Okay, thank you, Pat. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, agenda is approved. And the minutes of last month's meeting for, September 15th was the meeting date. Hopefully we've all had a chance to look at it. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Make that motion to approve the minutes for the September 15th meeting.
Second.
Okay, support. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's approved. Next, we have a schedule for next year. The meeting date schedule, and also the deadlines for variances to be applied for prior to that meeting.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I may, I just wanted to let the board members know that we tentatively put the schedule together. Of course, once we have defined other meeting schedule, and if there are elections subject to change, we just wanted to make sure it was approved and published, especially if we don't have a meeting in December, so the public would know when the meeting date was for January.
Okay, super. Thank you. I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve
Thank you.
the meeting schedule for 2026.
Okay, any support? Okay, Bill, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next item is new business. And the first item is the appeal of Mark Rockwell for a side yard and square footage variance. I'd like to have a motion to open the public hearing regarding that.
Make the motion to open the public hearing for Mark Rockwell.
Support.
Okay, thank you, Pat. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Jody, would you like to read the summary?
Yes, the applicant is Mark Rockwell, 8095 Delray, Lambertville, Michigan, 48144, parcel number 5802-605-01200 on .227 of an acre, PBO LVOD, professional business office located within the Lambertville Village overlay. The applicant is seeking a variance for a 28.5 by 11.5, 328 square foot area accessory building located within the front yard. In September of 2025, a complaint was filed and the applicant was advised the shed did not meet the setback requirement to the property line, was located within a front yard, having two front yards on Delray and Summerfield, and was over the allowed cumulative maximum square footage for an accessory building. Per section 419.03, 11.4, accessory buildings. An accessory building shall not be erected in any minimum side yard setback nor in any front yard pursuant to the schedule of regulations set forth. Per the accessory building table, parcels less than .25 acres are permitted 400 square feet of cumulative maximum square footage, a 5-foot setback from the property and rear lines, and a maximum total of 2 accessory buildings. Therefore, a variance to allow an accessory building to be located in the front yard setback, a plus or minus 3.5-foot side yard setback variance, and a plus or minus 248 square foot area variance to permit the existing 328 square foot accessory building. The applicant has stated in the submitted letter there was a fire at the neighboring property which spread to his home in 2019 and burned the existing shed, prior non-conforming, and we did research and there was no permit on file. The applicant noted in May of 2024 the new shed was purchased and delivered where it is located in the same location due to the existing tree line on site. At this time, no letter of objection had been received, and should the variance request be granted, the variances required are a 3.5-foot side yard setback, a plus or minus 248 square foot area variance to construct a 28.5 by 11.5 existing accessory building, and a variance to locate the accessory building within the front yard, having 2 front yards on Delray and Summerfield.
Okay. Thank you. Is the applicant here? Would you like to, if you have anything to add to that?
If you could come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. You can just state whether it's Lambertville or Temperance. We know you live in Lambertville.
Mark Rockwell, 8095 Delray Street, Lambertville, Michigan, 48144. Been there 30 years, own the property. And, after the fire, I found a new shed, and I liked it because it doesn't really look like a shed. It has a lot of windows. I have several pictures. It's the best one they had. It looks like a little cabin or a little dollhouse almost. I liked it because they had a porch on there, so I had them deliver it, and I didn't think nothing of it. And then a year and a half later, I had to call the sheriff on the neighbor nuisance next door, and they came out, and so he's the one that complained about the shed. I only had, I think, one complaint, I guess is what it was. But I have some letters of support from 2 other neighbors, and a third one that I was still kind of waiting on, but I guess today's the last day I can get that turned in. So I guess I have 2 letters of support from the neighbor next door and one down the street that don't have any problem with the building where it is now. So being a portable barn or shed, I figured they could just, no poles in the ground, no permit needed. I didn't know I needed a permit and all that. So it was just a simple mistake. It can be moved. The guy just puts the dollies under there and moved it, or removed. He can put it on a truck and haul it away. So, but I like the barn where it is, and I appreciate if you guys could just let it sit where it is with these variances, or whatever you decide.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that has a comment on this? Yes, Gail. Yes, please approach the podium.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I have letters of support. I'll get them to you in a second. They're filed, shuffled in here. All right.
Gail Kane, Temperance. I'm not for or against. I'm just here to voice an opinion. Again, there's nothing online to let anybody else in the public know what is going on with these cases. I think it's wrong. I think the packets should be online so that if someone wants to come, such as me, not just the neighbors or just within 300 feet, have some kind of a basis or knowledge. I don't see any of the pictures where all the other buildings so that you get a full aerial view as to how these buildings are set up on the lot. So I really can't speak to whether I think it should or should not be approved. The one thing I want to point out is that we just passed the accessory building rules. And if we're going to start breaking them already, go back to the drawing board and start over. I realize this is a really different situation, but as he said, it can be moved and it can be changed. Not that I would want to do it if it was my own, so I understand your consideration in this matter. But I think before we get started, we need to consider that you just put the new rules in. They're still on the front page of the township site, so we've got to keep that in consideration. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
2 letters of support from my neighbors.
Okay.
Would anyone like to see these letters of support?
Sure. Can you pass them down? Seeing no other public comment, may I have a motion to close that portion of the meeting?
I move we close the public hearing.
Support.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now, do any of the board members have a question for the applicant? Mr. Rockwell. Mr. Rockwell, would you please approach the podium again? Thank you.
I have a quick question.
Yes, Pat.
Is anybody living in that utility shed?
No, it's just storage.
It looks like a cabin, like you said, so I was just.
Yeah, no, the lady, Jennifer actually stopped by today. I was home around lunchtime, and she took a look at it. She went inside. I showed her the inside and everything. She can vouch for,
So,
storage. I got furniture and stuff.
gotcha. I want to tell you, I can't support this. As Gail mentioned, we did just change our accessory building regulations. And you're asking for almost double you're allowed. And do you have any other accessory buildings on the property?
Nope.
So you have the garage.
Well, a garage and then now the barn. But.
And when I drove by the property, it just looks so congested. I don't know how, if your neighbors decided to start a fire again, how fire workers could get back there easily to access the backyard. And that's one of the reasons why on a small lot we have restrictions. Not to mention, if everybody in your neighborhood wanted to do this, your neighborhood would not look good. And that hurts everybody's property values. And there's a reason why we have limitations on the total square footage on different size lots, height, and so forth. So
I understand that. Yeah, now I do.
I'm sorry you bought that. It's a really nice building, and hopefully you can sell it. If it doesn't pass muster with the board, I don't know how they'll vote. But
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
My issue, Pat, and along those lines, is this is basically self-created also. So that's where I stand with it. And regardless if he moves it to the front or the back, it's still going to be in a front yard technically, since it's 2 front yards, right? If I'm looking at the aerial view correctly. And it's tight in there.
Yeah. And it would still be too big if he moved it anyway. Too.
The one, Mr. Rockwell, the one question I had, if you want to come back up here, please. So your voice can be recorded as well. I know there's that big tree, it looks like that's blocking. I'm just wondering if there is any way to move it into the other front yard, the one that's off of Summerfield.
The big tree has some fire damage, and so that might be removed. I was in the process of going to have it removed, but we like the shade from it. And then the letter came, and so everything is on hold. All that stuff in the back was after the fire, so that's all in the back part. It's all been cleaned up ever since that this photograph was taken. But yeah, it is. You can see the new building there, and I'm more than 10 feet away from all the other structures, which is on the prints there.
Yeah, I didn't think of looking off of Summerfield Road, but is there a ditch or a swale or something off of Summerfield?
No.
You couldn't just back it in?
Well, I have a swimming pool in the backyard too, and so that's been there for 25 years, the swimming pool, so that's kind of why the backyard is just, and that's why there's such a big fence. I've never had a injury or, anybody drowned in the pool because I have a big fence around it, and you keep it locked up, obviously, and that's why it's kind of in the front. But they said I have 2 front yards, so it's in the best spot on the property due to the large tree, which is a practical difficulty to, could have moved it back. If the big tree wouldn't have been there in the root system, I can move it back if I cut the tree down, but, that's all on depending on what you board members decide on all this. Like I said, the guy can move it. The question is where, and that's just, basically it's the easiest, it was the easiest spot for delivery, basically. It took them 22 minutes to, from the Delray Street into there to set it up. It was just so fast, I figured it was a simple fix, very quick, to replace the old barn that I had there, shed that I had there.
Well, the one, we can approve or deny, or a third option the board can do is approve the square footage, but contingent upon the building being moved somewhere else.
Right.
It's still a big ask, though.
Yeah, I agree.
It's almost
Well,
double what he's allowed.
It's hard to move. It's kind of hard. Like I said, that big tree, unless it's kind of it's basically the only spot where I could have put it on the lot easily, because there's a lot of trees in the back and bushes along Summerfield there. You can't really get it. Yeah, all those bushes there, you can't really. It's just, the swimming pool's back there, and that's all.
You can fit an 80 square foot shed back there.
Okay. Yes.
You probably have to stick build it.
Yeah, but it's just not going to be anything nearly as nice looking as the building, the barn that I have now. It's with, and time wise, it's just it's going to take more than 22 minutes. I have a busy work schedule just like everybody. I figured 22 minutes, or he'll deliver it. Wouldn't take very long. Like I said, it didn't take very long. And I didn't know I needed a permit and all variance and all that, because it was portable, and I apologize for the mistake. And whatever you decide, I'll honor the request. So.
Any other questions from board members?
How long has that shed been there for?
About a year and a half, and I guess it was brought to your attention somehow a year and a half later, I think. Like I said, it was just retaliation for me calling the sheriff.
But you did have a shed there your whole life.
Yeah, there's
before
been a
the
big
fire.
Yes,
You're replacing one that was there.
it was sitting there, yeah. But the old one was only like 12 by 12. It was only like half as big as this one, because this one has the porch. But so Butch has to be included. That's why the square footage is, the actual building is quite a bit, less square footage. But the porch is included because it's all attached to one, and I understand that. It's 300 and some square feet.
The shed that was there before was non-conforming.
Yeah, that's true. Plus, there is another shed 2 doors down that's further up towards the road than mine is. If you look right there on that picture, you can see it. It's up like a lot closer to the center of the road line. So, there's other ones that are in the same boat that I'm on. And I'm not past that one. I'm basically further back than he is. So
It's interesting. That one is on a house where they're using Summerfield Road as main access, not Delray.
yeah, that's a duplex. Duplexes. Those 2 duplex buildings there. Yeah, like one in the front, one in the back, one apartment on Delray Street. But yeah, they do come in off Summerfield. We didn't, so.
Is it time to, someone to come up with a motion? If there's no more questions?
Marty, with the procedures, nobody's going to make a motion, it just dies then?
I would not like to see that happen. I'd like you to make a motion one way or another, because they've paid good money and there's a public hearing and publishing, and I think the applicant deserves a decision.
I'll make a motion to deny the request for additional or minimal setbacks and additional square footage.
Support.
Accessory building.
Support.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Jody, would you like to call the?
Sure. Should we have reasons why?
Oh, there is no practical difficulty, and it was an egregious ask for variance.
Now, if Mr. Mahoney will accept it, I'll say it's self-created.
I'll accept that.
Okay.
Mr. Mahoney?
Aye.
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Ms. Barth?
Aye.
Ms. McCormick?
Aye.
Mr. Potter?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Rockwell.
Yep.
Okay, the next item is the appeal of Andrew Hoover for fence height variances. I have a motion to open.
I'll make a motion to open the Mr. Andrew Hoover public hearing.
Okay.
Support.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Jody, would you like to read the summary, please?
Yes, the applicant is Andrew Hoover, 750 West Vienna Road, Temperance, Michigan, parcel number 5802-013-00200 on 5 acres. Agriculturally zoned, was approved by the Township Board on 10/7 of 25. The applicant is seeking a plus or minus 4-foot height variance for a side and rear yard and a 6-foot height variance in the front yard to construct a 10-foot fence with the portion to be located in the front corner side yard on a corner lot. The property consists of 5 acres and has 2 front yards and is located on the corner of West Vienna Road and Minks Road. The existing accessory building located in the front yard was granted a variance on 7/1 of 2019. The property was recently rezoned from R2B single-family residential to Ag agricultural. Per section 41912, fences number 4, A through C, fences in an agricultural zoning district shall be located within a front yard not to exceed 4 feet in height. Side or rear, 6 feet, and in the case of a corner lot, corner side yard shall not exceed 4 feet in height. Therefore, the applicant is requesting a plus or minus 4-foot height variance for the side and the rear yard and a 6-foot height variance for the front yard, corner, side yard to construct a 10-foot fence on the perimeter of the property. The applicant stated in the submitted letter the desire is to move forward with a deer farm and the request is to comply with Michigan state regulations regarding the containment of deer. The applicant has noted per state law a 10-foot perimeter fence to control ingress-egress of deer is required. At this time, no letters of cause of objection have been received, and the applicant had supplied a letter of no objection to the planning department. Should the variance request be granted, the variances required are a plus or minus 6-foot height variance for the side and the rear, and a 4-foot height variance for the side and rear yard, and a 6-foot height variance for the front and side yard to construct a 10-foot fence. conditioned upon the fence being located outside the road right-of-way and the corner clearance. Just to give some clarification, this is the home. This would be considered all front yard here. Any fence in this area would be limited to the 4 foot in height. This is the accessory building that was granted a variance. And then this is the rear and side yard that we're requesting for the 4 foot height to do the 6 foot in the entire perimeter of 10 feet.
So the black dotted line would be the 10-foot.
No.
That would be considered what a front yard would be,
Yeah.
the building line where he would
Gotcha.
be permitted a fence.
That confused
6
me
foot.
too.
So he can put a 10-foot fence from that line toward,
No, he only permitted, he's not permitted 10 foot regardless. He's permitted 4 foot. Beyond this black line could be 4 feet and 6 feet here. So this area here, let me go back,
I'm saying what he's asking.
all the way around.
Okay.
He wants,
That's what I want to be clear about.
yep, the
whole
perimeter.
property or the black dotted line?
Nope, the perimeter is going to be, he's looking to put the fence from this hash mark over to the back of his property, to the front, staying outside the road right-of-way and around.
Yeah, go back to that picture where
I
it
think there was
shows
a picture.
that one. That's the one.
There it is.
The 10 foot is, the 10 foot is going to be the entire area of the fencing. This would require the 4 foot variance, and the green requires the 6 foot.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
All right.
sorry.
See, Mr. Hoover, would you like to approach the podium? State your name and address, please.
My name is Andrew Hoover. I live at 750 West Vienna Road, Temperance, Michigan. I have 3 letters from my Bedford neighbors. One for the north side, which is Bill Cornett. One for the west side, which would be Dustin Graham, I think, or Grimm. And then I got one to the south side of me, which is Mohammed Altamesh. North, yep, north, correct. I also have an approval letter from Consumers Energy because I'm encroaching on their easement for their electrical lines. I received approval from them to encroach on their easements. And I also just have this overview kind of here. They're just showing there's another local deer farm on Temperance Road. Or it'd be more north of Temperance on Telegraph Road, which is like within a mile probably of my house.
I'm assuming the deer farm's going to be commercial, raise and process deer.
To raise deer and then to sell them back to ranches or other breeding facilities to breed the deer.
We're into part of the meeting that's beyond the open public hearing portion. Is there anyone, we're still in public hearing, is there anyone else in the audience that would like to make a comment on this? Yes.
Gail Kane, Temperance. All right, I have this vision of all the issues we had with the zoo. And so before you people go ahead and make your decision, I think you need to consider, does he have a permit yet from the DNR? Why are we going to do this? That'll be an excuse. I did all this, and now I don't have my permit from the DNR. I think our ABCs need to be put in line properly before we're granting permission. Where does this fall in the exotic animal ordinance of the township? Will there be a limit on the number of animals he is going to trap in this enclosure? What is the impact on the neighbors, not only through the insects and the other varmint or whatever that will be attracted to the area, including other deer, which could then be destructive to the neighboring properties, coyotes, and the disease that would be held within a herd. These are all the reasons the DNR doesn't let people feed deer or bait deer, is because of what happens when you put these too close to addition. If he's raising this for meat, you need to know who is going to slaughter these deer, where the meat's going to be processed, how it's going to be passed out and sold. If he's on 5 acres, I question why you have to have a fence all the way to the road. That's only encouraging people to drive by in their cars, take pot shots at these animals that are trapped without any way of even being able to get away from it. Put it up to where the shed is at and have it strictly go back down that way so that maybe he can buffer along the roadside versus exposing these animals to traffic and kids hollering and hooting and whatever else possibly could be done to these animals. I could see Pettit coming in here and putting a hole in the fence and letting them out, but that's, it's just, to me, it just seems a little bit odd when we have all these deer that are running loose and we have too many as it is, that we would suddenly be raising them. And I don't understand this whole process. If he's raising them and then to sell them to someone else to put them loose on their property so they can shoot them, I'm just not seeing the logic. But then I wouldn't want it in my neighborhood because that's what could very well happen. Somebody could shoot one of these deers knowing that they can't go anyplace else but. So that's just my viewpoint. Thanks.
Thank you. Yes.
Mr. Chair, if there's no other public hearing.
Okay, well, let's do that first. If there's no other public comments, let's close the public hearing portion. May I have a motion?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Support.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Mahoney.
Okay, what practical difficulty keeps you from complying with the ordinance as it stands?
Well, I am
Has to do with the property.
What's that?
Has to do with the property.
Has to do with the property. I guess the only thing that's preventing me from doing it is the state regulation regulates me having to have a 10-foot fence.
It doesn't have anything to do with the property, though.
I guess I don't understand what your question is.
Practical difficulty has to do only with encumbrances with the property itself that requires you to come and ask for a variance. It can't be anything other than what has to do with the property.
I mean, I guess I really don't quite understand.
I don't think you do. I don't think you have one. And when you came and asked for a zoning change, I was more than happy to vote for it, and I supported it. I didn't know you were going to come back and ask for 10-foot high fences in a residential area, even though we changed your lot as agricultural. You still are adjacent to residential properties who have to see it every time they drive by.
And that's also why I did go to all my neighbors that are around me and did get their approval.
Yeah, I don't put a lot of credence in those because I think you go up to them and ask them to do you a favor. Are they going to tell you no, or are they going to feel, all right, yeah, or I'll sign it? They may truly don't care or whatever, but I take it with a grain of salt. I can't support the request just based on the fact there's no reason to do this other than you want to have a deer farm. My base research into this, I think DNR requires wire fence, and it looked like you had nylon fencing.
Nope, it's a fixed, not field fencing. So I think the technical.
Is it wire?
It's a wire fence, yes, sir. It's 12 and a half gauge wire fence. So the technical name for it is 120, 23, 12 and a half, 6, I think it is, which is, it's a 12 and a half gauge fence, 120 inches high, 23 spacings all the way up, and a 6-inch.
I think I saw the picture.
6-inch line between it.
Yeah. And I don't know. The other thing that kind of bothers me is, like, I don't know if you're going to come back in another 2 months or a year asking for another variance. And
yeah, that's not my plan.
Yeah, I didn't know this was going to come across the BZA's desk when it came to planning. So that's where I'm coming from.
Deer on the property now?
I mean, there's wild deer on the property, so
Wild versus, you don't have a fence up there at all right now?
no, sir. So, in like some reference to what she was saying, in order for me to move ahead with the DNR process, I have to have approval from the government, stating that I am allowed to have the variance for the fence. So I am already in the process with DNR and getting it approved, just pending the variance approval, from you guys.
And I know there's big money in raising these deer and selling them, because there's a lot of just trophy hunters out there.
Right.
I hunt a lot, and I'm looking forward to November 15th. I'm ready to go. Okay. But I also know that I know people that'll go pay big money to go to Wisconsin and shoot red stag. And they're basically just going for the antlers, and that's it. I mean, they'll donate the meat. But like Mr. Mahoney said, there's got to be a practical difficulty, and because the DNR won't approve you unless we approve you, and you can't get approval without, somebody needs approval here, but that's their requirement isn't our problem. It's got to be a practical difficulty with the property, as Mr. Mahoney stated. So that's what I'm trying to come up with.
Well, if you plan any hunting in there, there's your house plus your neighbor to the
Oh, they won't hunt.
west.
So yeah, there will not be no
Too
hunting.
close. I mean,
Yeah, there's definitely no hunting. So I would be selling them to other ranches. So in like the world of deer farming, I guess you could say, if you high fence a property, DNR comes in and pushes all wildlife out of your property. So you pretty much are ended up with like a fence, and anything that you put inside that fence or anything that somebody comes to hunt on your property on a ranch has to be purchased or naturally bred from the purchased deer that you have included in deer herd. So you have to build a herd out of bought-in animals when you start a ranch. The state of Michigan
It just
owns.
seems to me that, you should have got a bigger property, one that is truly agricultural, and that you've got more than 5 acres, so it would blend in maybe more. But you're in a residential area.
I am kind of. I mean, my neighbor to my left is agricultural. My neighbor to my right is agricultural. The guy south of me is agricultural, and the guy north of me, he has a portion of his property agricultural too. So everyone pretty much around me is agricultural.
That's why I was all right with changing the zoning at the time.
I felt that this was a more economical way for me to try to get into farming versus trying to get into cows or pigs or some other form of farming.
What is, as far as, I don't know, does the state require a certain minimum acreage?
They do not, I don't believe.
Do they have a requirement or a recommendation of how many acres each animal needs?
I do not believe so. The standard for like deer farmers is usually 10 deer per acre, but I plan on starting with like 4 deer.
The 10-foot fence is to keep them contained because you don't want to get them out there, especially if CW, chronic.
Yeah, to keep them contained, and then I will also be having a certified CWD herd and tuberculosis herd. So they'll be certified, so they're from a free, they don't have any CWD, tuberculosis. And the 10-foot fence is also to help protect the animals from, coming in contact with a wild deer with, that could potentially have it.
Have you thought of, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, fence is wide open. They can just go nose to nose.
So most of the industry standards are 8 foot. Michigan is special with a 10-foot fence because they say a deer can jump an 8-foot fence. But like Ohio is an 8-foot fence. Most of our neighbors are all also 8-foot fence height required.
Mrs. King brought up a point that I hadn't. I was thinking about the aesthetics of driving down Minks Road and seeing this 10-foot fence right up at the property line, but also what Mrs. King brought up is not so much people driving by looking at what's going on, but people driving by taking pot shots or, heck, they shoot at cows out in the field and anything that looks like a.
I mean, I guess that'd be a risk with any farming industry. I mean,
Not any.
if the fence is 20 foot back farther, is it really going to stop somebody from taking a rifle out and shooting them
If there was a line of
a couple hundred feet away?
in a tight spruce trees, you can see it.
Yeah,
And they'd know it's there.
I mean, it would take some time. I plan on probably trying to put a shade cloth down to one side on the fence side or on the road side,
It would even
kind of
look
help
worse.
protect the deer from, seeing all the traffic and that from people coming down the road.
I saw the photo of that, and personally, I don't like that at all.
I mean, I don't have to do that, but
I don't know.
Marty, for legal clarification, DNR's 10-foot fence rule is not our problem, correct?
That's right. That's their requirement, and he would have to have a 10-foot fence in order to get his permit.
So if we were to approve a 10-foot fence located wherever, if it's up to the road or if it's back off the road, what would happen then if the state tells you, no, we're not going to approve this? What happens to the fence?
well, I'm not allowed to put it up without their approval. But I've already talked to the lady, and she said I'm pretty much just waiting on approval from you guys. I did also get approved from the wetlands, someone with DNR. They have a wetlands person that comes through and does kind of an analysis on it that just pretty much says that it's not invasive or harming any waterfowl or any other sort of migratory bird.
Issue that I have, again, and I agree with Mr. Mahoney, is getting over the practical difficulty. But you're coming to us last when you should have came to us first, before you even see if you could have got this project off the ground. If we were able, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, or you guys can, but I need a 10-foot variance, then you wouldn't have had to go through all the other steps.
So I originally had to start with switching my property to agriculture. So I mean that was my first step, which I think Pat, you said that you agreed upon. So that was my first step to getting it kind of rolling. And I did mention in the agriculture meeting that my plans were to move forward with building a deer farm for the ag.
Well, I asked you what you were doing.
Yep.
Then you told me.
And then, I mean, as far as the DNR goes, I can't really move forward with it. I mean, I've talked to her. I'm in conversations with her, but I'm just tentatively waiting on approval from you guys. So, I mean, I guess I kind of am coming to you guys first to find out if I can move forward with it.
I think, Joe, if he would have come to us before, well, certainly before the property was rezoned, then we couldn't, or residential use, we couldn't allow deer farming anyway.
Right.
That was
And
speaking
as
with
Jody
Jody and
explained,
Katrina. That's
the fence height variance would even be more.
I was just going to say that he did come in and speak to us about this, and the process was he wouldn't be able to have a deer farm on the residential property as it stood, so he would have had to sought a rezoning for agricultural uses. Now, having said that, if he would have came and asked for the variance, you would have been granting a variance of a height for a use, which is not permitted to grab a use variance. So he had to seek the rezoning first to determine whether he could even have agricultural uses. Now, having said that, the 10-foot fence is a requirement of the state. I did do a little research because I had never heard of a deer farm other than when you go to a petting zoo. So I did do some research. It is required. It is under MDARD and the DNR. I will say he does have to have a permit. If the board is so inclined, I would encourage you to put some conditions on it, that if he was, being he's coming to you after and stating the fact that if he has to get a variance for the 10-foot fence for him to get the permit, then maybe a condition could be placed that if he doesn't get the permit, that it's not permitted for a 10-foot fence variance, because it is for the specific use that he's asking for the variance, not actually for just his property to be fenced in with 10 feet. He's asking it for the deer farm. So condition-wise, maybe because you are permitted to provide conditions of a variance request, you could put that type of condition that he provide any permit from the state to the township that it is permitted with the 10-foot fence. Should the use go away, maybe the 10-foot fence should be brought into compliance. Those types of things could be if you're so inclined to grant the variance of the fencing. Those are just some of my thoughts by reviewing the language, because I did do some research because I didn't quite understand a deer farm either, but it is not wild deer that he's bringing onto his property. It is required. I do believe that the DNR or MDARD, one of them, does come out and investigate the site, and he does have to have the fence. So not whether you're inclined to approve it or deny it, if there is some determination. Those would be my thoughts from a township and planning department standpoint of the ordinance requirements of why he's requesting it. If he would have come with it residential, deer farm wouldn't have been permitted, and the variance height would have been from 3.5 feet in the front yard to go to the 10 feet. He would have had 6.5 requirements instead of just the 4. Just some thought.
Yeah, you explained it better. I tried. Thank you. Mr. Hoover, the photo that's up on the screen, what would happen if, you just moved the, yeah, move it over to the right a little bit, that corner. Okay, if the fence started there and went straight north, so everything is moved back off of Minks by however many feet that is, 100 feet, 75 feet, whatever.
It's probably
That
roughly
would cut
like 130.
That would cut your acreage down to probably less than 2.5 acres.
Yeah, it pretty much would cut my deer farm probably at least in half. And I was just trying to, push it to my boundary lines, because I do have a survey, so I do know where my boundary lines are, my easements end. So I was just planning on keeping it within my easement rights.
But that would, as far as I'm concerned anyway, that would keep it off Minks Road and give you an opportunity to do some landscaping, tree planting, whatever, just to hide from the general public what's going on in back. Granted, it's you'd end up being a smaller operation than what you were envisioning.
Would that only require the 4-foot variance on that?
Well, there'd still be some in the green,
Yeah.
so
You
it'd
do
be,
have some tree planting going on there, though.
Yeah, I do have some small spruces going down there, but they've been there
did
for
notice
probably like
that.
5 years, and they're they're not very tall. I could plant some spruces down that line to fill it in if that would be something that would help get me approved.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry, yes.
That's all right. I didn't speak up loud enough. I did have a suggestion maybe that Can I ask the applicant a question? Sure. Okay. I guess the question would be, is being that they're talking about the aesthetics of the fencing and providing a buffer onto Minks Road other than just the fencing, do you know, does the DNR look at it as the perimeter that's fenced in? Or, because then I was thinking maybe you could put the tree line on Minks Road and then the fence inside, but it still wouldn't take away from the acreage if that was something of a condition to grant the variance of the board's desire.
Are you saying put like the perimeter of the?
Where you're trying to keep it in this line of sight, would there, if you fenced it in and then brought the fence in enough to put a tree line buffer in still here and didn't come back this far?
Inside of the fence or the outside?
That would be the desire of the board, but they're looking at the aesthetics of the fence. That's what I didn't know, how they measure your usable area of acreage for the number of animals.
Okay.
That was just a question.
It can be planted that grows fast. Maybe that's the best, too many bests of the world. You get something that grows fast and stays. I mean, spruces are nice, but take you 20 years to
forever.
get something that.
Like I said, I got a few of them that are planted down that line now, but they've been there. Dennis, how long has it been since I built my house? Like 8 years, probably.
Years.
Yeah, and they're still 3 feet, maybe.
Yeah, even Norways are
Yeah, they take forever.
take 10 years or more. Any other questions?
You know, the only other comment I'll make, I'm not overly concerned about looky-loos or whatever like that. I can drive out there right now and see deer. You know, I go right to that corner and I'll see deer. And I've worked a long time down here and with the sheriff's department, and there's other deer farms in neighboring townships and stuff like that. And we've never had anybody go in and shoot them up or pop them
Yeah,
up.
like I
only
said,
time
there is a
you're gonna-
deer farm like right on Telegraph Road. Like
The only time you'd probably get looky-loos, including me, is if you had an albino on there.
yeah, I do plan on doing some pieballs. Probably having one of my does bred to a pieball if I do get approved.
Just, there's no practical difficulty.
Yeah, I agree.
It's easy when, you know, there's a power line or there's a leach field in a place or, you know, there's multiple trees that can't be removed and things like that. I mean, I usually can come up with some gray area ones, but I'm struggling here. Else?
Are we at a
I
point
mean, yeah. I mean, I agree.
make a motion?
I don't see a practical difficulty, but
Yeah, there's whatever, even if we decided to okay it with a
with the
different
trees.
alignment
Yeah.
for the fence, or with
I could push
fast-growing
it back
trees
and
for a
put a buffer
There's
there.
still the issue of the practical difficulty, which would prevent you from complying with the regulations, and it's not really a practical difficulty. It's the state saying to do what you want to do, you have to have a 10-foot high fence. And that's not a practical
Yeah, that's what I would say my hardship would be, is that I want to put a 10-foot fence up to contain the deer and to start a deer farm. And my hardship would be that, you know, the variance, you guys only allow a certain height fence. And my hardship is that I can't put the fence up without having a variance height addition to the code currently.
But that's related to what you want to do with the property, not what already exists.
Yeah, but he wants to raise deer instead of Cows or horses or?
So in the legislator, or the legislation, Michigan also states that deer is also considered and should be treated just as any other livestock should be treated. It is wrote in their codes.
The other livestock don't require 10-foot fences, though.
Correct. It's just that, that it should be treated the same as any other livestock, but that's their way to contain. I mean, you have to have a 10-foot, that's my hardship. You have to have a 10-foot fence in order to contain safely and also safely keep the other deer outside of the fence safe from contacting CWD or, other sort of diseases that deer do carry in the wild and that they can get in facilities.
I don't know
So the
about
fence
deer,
is to
but
help both the deer inside and outside, and that's why Michigan does have a 10-foot fence height, is to help kind of control that spread. And Michigan is harder on like CWD with the bait piles and all that, so they are pretty strict as far as that stuff goes, and it is monitored pretty heavily.
I don't know about deer, but pigs, cows, you also have to have enough acreage available to you to manage the manure. You can't just leave it lay in the field where they graze.
Mm-hmm. And that was my thought behind doing deer too. They also, like, their hooves are smaller. They're a lighter animal. They don't, they don't tear up the ground as much as sort of say a cow would or a pig would. The manure is a lot smaller, so it's a lot easier to deal with versus, a big 3,000-pound cow. So that was kind of my thoughts with moving forward with a deer farm versus like trying to raise cattle on my property. I'm just trying to do something with my property to try to like pay for my taxes, I guess I sort of say. I have 5 acres, so I'm trying to utilize my 5 acres, I guess, the best that I can.
Are we ready for a motion?
I'm going to go ahead and make the motion that we deny their request for the 6-foot and 4-foot height variances at the property number 5802-013-002-00.
I'll support.
And the reason for there has been no practical difficulties presented.
Okay with that?
Yeah.
Any other discussion? No? You have a vote?
Mr. Gore?
Aye.
Mr. Mahoney?
Aye.
Ms. McCormick?
Aye.
Ms. Barth?
Aye.
Mr. Potter?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay. Public comment or anything else? Gail, would you like to approach the podium?
I have to make it worth my while to come out in the dark. Gail Kane, Temperance. I have a question for the board, and I'm not certain that the board can do what I think they should do. In your case on number A, the person lives, if I have this straight, it's a PBO zoning, but it's in the overlay district. When we put together the overlay for downtown Temperance, that was put in place because none of the properties carry the proper frontage requirements to meet today's needs. Is there any chance that this board could reach out to that gentleman? I realize that what has happened to him is a neighborhood retaliation, and doggone well, it's going to go right down the road and come back at you. Why someone could not reach out to him and try to find a resolution for him that you could put your 12 by 12 back up since it burnt down. I mean, that was something out of his control. I know we don't do that in Temperance. It was if a natural disaster or something such as a fire. It's not just because you want to do something and you want to tear a building down and now you get to repeat it. It has to be because of a disaster of some sort or another. So that would be my question. It never got brought up. And I like to throw my tidbits and my cracker crumbs out there, but nobody apparently did their study. I mean, I know Jody does her stuff real good and she has to kind of sit tight. But nobody else on the board mentioned anything about that overlay because they do have their own specific rules. As for title number 8, if he wants to farm, it would be an ideal place since it's all open out there. I mean, I think any fence with animals, the fence should not be on a property line. It's just too conducive to the dogs next door or the grandkids or whatever else. But in the big picture, if he wants to do some farming, he could put himself, and it appeared to be all open. I didn't see any woods or anything for those deer to hide in, but suggest that maybe he go back and put in a prairie. I can help him get some information and grants to put in a prairie, and then he could raise pheasants and quail and turkey and all those other really cool things that he doesn't even have to really take care of except hatch them and let them loose. So that's all. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. My name is Taryn Kennedy. I'm actually from Toledo, Ohio. 4919 Boydson Drive is my address. But I am a licensed real estate agent in the state of Michigan, and I'm here on behalf of my client. And my job is to sell property and put property in the interest of potential buyers. And so I have the parcel numbers. I don't know if that's helpful or not. I don't have everything prepared for the screen or anything, but I am selling or representing my seller who has 3 properties for sale on Secor Road, just south of Smith Road, just north of Maple Grove Golf Course. And these 3 parcels have been, are currently zoned residential, and they have been approved to be multifamily after a couple of the houses have come down. But I have found a potential buyer who would like to explore the idea of that property becoming C3 commercial property. It seems as though we're not going to get to an offer stage unless they have the idea that maybe they would be able to get in here and have a conversation and be able to put together the proposal. I'm just trying to do everything on behalf of my...
Interrupt.
Yes.
The purpose of this board, the Board of Zoning Appeals, is for property owners, to give property owners a way to try and get a variance on rules and regulations for their particular zoning. We don't look at changing zoning. That's not the proper, we're not the proper board for rezoning. I'm not sure if it's solely the Board of Trustees or if the Planning Commission gets involved. I know we're not involved. So I mean, it's nice to meet you, but you don't really have anything for us to decide on here.
He has, I'll just say, you are correct. This board is a variation from the requirements of the zoning ordinance. However, we do have a representative of a trustee and a representative at this time from the Planning Commission. It does go to the Planning Commission. They meet the 2nd and the 4th Wednesdays, but yes, you can advise of your information to this board because there are 2 representatives of those 2 boards that would be deciding boards. But you are correct, Mr. Potter. This is a Board of Zoning Appeals that is a variance from the zoning ordinance itself. But it is public comment time.
Okay.
No, you were right.
Sorry for the interruption.
No, I apologize for wasting your time. So 2nd and 4th Wednesdays as the...
Come in and see
We meet the
Jody.
2nd and the 4th Wednesdays of the month here in the boardroom, and it's usually posted on our website, normally the Thursday before the meeting if there is items on the agenda. Township Board meets the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays, but we will not be meeting Tuesdays, but they will not be meeting tomorrow due to the election. Mr. Gore, is your next meeting? Yes, so it won't be till November 18th will be the next township board meeting.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
But he really could come and see you and get organized for whatever his dream is. Zoning change.
Anyone else? So let's move on to board and staff comments. With my left.
I have no comment at this time.
I think with the property you're talking about, didn't we, the last board, didn't we approve a variance for them not to have sidewalks or something to do with sidewalks in there? And I guess all that fell through?
They did rezone the property to multifamily,
Yes.
and it is 3 separate parcels. There are 2 existing homes on the property, and yes, it did come to the board to grant a variance at one point for the development.
I'm
I
assuming
have
they
not received
want to do
anything
something
regarding
with
that
the-
property.
change it to commercial because they're going to widen Secor Road, something like that, I would imagine. So be interested to see how it plays out. So other than that, I got nothing.
No comment.
The only comments I have is related to when somebody comes in here and applies for a variance for one specific thing, oftentimes we're able to say, okay, we don't agree with what they're asking. However, if this or these adjustments are made, we may be okay with a modified request. And I think in both of these instances, we offered in the building, well, in the first one, we offered, well, is there some way you can get the building in the backyard? You know, it's possible the board would have been okay with that, even though it put it in the backyard and knock the other building down. That would help. So that was offered, and that wasn't accepted as a possibility. And in this last case, how about shrinking the size of it to get that fence off the road? That might be a little, even though, however, there's still no practical difficulty, so that'd be difficult for us to approve without a practical difficulty. So, yeah, there are other ag uses, and there's certainly guidance out there. I guess we could have suggested go to the conservation district or whatever for different ideas on ag-related usage. Not sure we generate any income, but anyway, so that's all I have.
I don't have anything.
I don't have anything.
Nothing here.
Just a heads up, we've had some inquiries on variances. Next meeting would be December 1st. Deadline is November 10th, Monday by noon. I will send an email out as the Township Hall will be closed on November 11th. Thank you for all that have served.
I'll accept that. Adjourned.